Hello, everyone. Welcome to Earth Week, or welcome back to Earth Week. It's been such an incredible week. Dan and I are here. We're excited to keep it going. Diving back into Minecraft climate features, today the focus is on forests. My name is Emma Cottier. I'm from Victoria, BC, the traditional territory of the West Saanich people. I'm a middle school teacher, so pumped to be with you today. Dan, you're still muted. Quarter in the jar.
Thank you for that. Hi, everyone. My name is Dan Noble. I am in Waterloo, Ontario, Treaty 9. And I'm a Minecraft global mentor and Minecraft consultant. So I do pretty much everything having to do with Minecraft.
And we're going to get to see Dan build live today. And if you haven't already seen him build live, it's going to blow your mind. I'm excited to see it. But before we dive in, I would like to recognize that I am on the traditional territory of the West Saanich people. It means the saltwater people. I'm on the very southern end of Vancouver Island, and I am so thankful for those keepers of this beautiful land on which I'm able to teach, learn, explore, and share my passion of technology with you. Now, a huge thanks to Minecraft Education and Microsoft. Without them, we wouldn't be here. Cobblestone is thrilled to be a global training partner and be able to do these sessions. Now, we're going to start diving right into Minecraft right away, but we want to remind you that you can see and hear us, but we can't see and hear you. But we have a form. In a new tab, if you type in the cc.page/earth, we would love to hear from you. Dan and I might be able to give you some shout outs, some encouragement. We'd love to know how your Minecraft world is going. So in a new tab, the cc.page/earth, go on in, have that ready so you can interact with us throughout this form. And we have a question to get going. Now, Dan and I are quite far apart. Like I said, I'm just outside of Victoria and Dan is in Waterloo. Dan, can I put you on a spot? What is the tree that is local to where you live?
That is a really good question. I used to know this, and I'm trying to think of...
I've totally put Dan on the spot.
I think maples might be native to this area.
Mm-hmm. And we actually have maples out here. We have lots of maples, lots of cedar. We have arbutus. I shouldn't say Victoria, but BC is home to a large amount of forest. So students, if you're just joining us in that form, this cc.page/earth, we'd love to know what type of tree is local to you. Now, Dan, wow, we have so many students joining today. We have Zane from Toronto. We have Maria that's like, what is Dan going to build? That is so exciting.
That's awesome.
So Sophia from Miss Kirkins Clan, also from Toronto. Nathan, hello, Nathan. Nathan has birch trees local. We have John. John, here's your shout out. John to room number 3. Wow. We have Emily and Simon and William. Love it. And so many great trees, pine trees, maple trees, cedar trees, oak trees. The school I work at was even named after a tree. Dan, this is incredible. Defina, Vincent, wow. Ryder, Xavier,
Hayden.
Lucas, Hayden, Dasha, welcome. Welcome. Wow, so many great responses. Please keep them coming. Now, our plan today, but keep that form coming. We love it. Our plan today is to explore the climate futures, the future. Dan is going to take us on a tour. We have an incredible guest speaker today from Lufa Farms in Montreal. And we're also going to have some create and build time where we get to see Dan in action. And we're going to be working on the prompt day, which is a climate future invention. Now, maybe Dan, because we have so many participants here today, should we do a couple more shout outs and then start diving into the world?
Absolutely. More shout outs.
All right. So we have Aaliyah and Amelia and Declan and Hayden and Tadora, Noah, Emily, Peter, Jermaine, Nico,
Jeremy,
Susie, Lucas. Oh, thank you so much. I see we have a Lauren and a Kaden and Aria. Keep it coming. We're going to have more questions in that form. But I think at this point, it is time to start exploring this incredible Minecraft world. It's called Climate Futures, The Forest. And Dan, are you okay if I switch over to your screen and you can show us how to get there?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So,
All
Dan,
right.
show us how to get into this really cool world.
All right. So once you've signed in, you're going to click on play. We are going to go over to view library on the right-hand side. This is where all the lessons are kept. We're going to go into subject kits up in the top left corner. Now we have to scroll down a little bit here because we need to scroll down to the bottom, and the tile right in the center here at the bottom row, climate and sustainability, we're going to click on that. So we are going to go and look for the forest now. And if memory serves, we have to scroll down a little bit, and it's actually in the third row. It's the first one on the third row off the left. And we're going to click on that. And the next thing you need to do is create world. So we're just going to click that. And you'll note that my machine loads this really super fast. That's because it's a gaming rig. So if you're on a Chromebook or an iPad, it may take you a few seconds longer. Just be patient.
And Dan, maybe what we'll do there, I'm just going to switch screens really quickly just to remind our viewers where you've gone. So Dan has gone ahead and logged in. He clicked play. He clicked view library, subject kits, Climate Futures, the forest. It's located under the climate and sustainability. And he's gone ahead and create worlds. So teachers, at this point, it might be a great idea, pause this video if you need an extra minute to log in. So again, pause this video if you need some more time to log in. And just before we meet Emily in this world, maybe I'll say hello to OG and Mars and Rhiannon and Silas. We are loving your responses in the forum. Keep them coming. For those joining, your task today is Climate Futures, the Forest. And Dan's going to show us this. But Dan, I believe there's 3 steps today. And Dan's going to show us. Step 1 will be to find Emily. Step 2 is to find the 3 areas to explore. And step 3, to find these rifts. And Dan is going to show us what these rifts look like. A little hint, I think there's 9 rifts altogether, 3 in each area. Is that correct, Dan?
I believe that's correct, yes.
So there's a total of 9, and we're going to give you some time to explore. So I'm going to switch you back over to Dan. Dan, show us how to say hello to Emily.
All right, here is Emily. She's right in front of me here. You'll note that I am in survival mode for this portion of the activity. And don't worry if you don't get through all of them. There are a lot of them to go through, and there's a lot of stuff to look at and explore. So I'm going to walk up to Emily here, and I'm going to click on her. And actually, I'm going to take a little bit of segue here. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Immersive Reader, which is a really cool, handy little tool. And it's this little green button here on the NPC. So if you click this little button here, which I'm hovering over now and turning green, it will open up Immersive Reader. So the great thing about Immersive Reader is if you're having trouble with any of the words, you can click on them and it will say it for you. You can also click on some settings here. You can change the voice speed. So if you want to go through things fast or if you want to go through things slow, this is actually one of the coolest parts of it. You can also translate. So if English is not your first language, you can come down here. You can check. So you can pick a different language. There are a lot of them in here. And if you click on this document toggle here and move that off to the right, it changes it for me right there. And if I click play and go back to that, it will read it in that language. It is incredibly cool and incredibly helpful. So I'm just going to back out of this and go back here again. And you can actually reach Immersive Reader for slates, posters, and boards too. So if you see a big board up with a lot of text and you want to have that in the Immersive Reader, all you need to do is look at the poster, click I on your keyboard, and it will open up Immersive Reader. All right, so let's start exploring. I'm going to click next here. So deforestation is the cutting down of forests or groups of trees. The land they were on is often converted to farms, ranches, or used for urban development. You'll have 3 areas to explore, which will show many different results of deforestation. You could either stay as a group, okay? And now they're going to be giving us a camera and a portfolio to take pictures of the before and after. I'm not going to do that today. I don't have time, but I encourage you to do that. And we can start now. So you can actually see that I've been given a camera and a portfolio in my tool belt here, and I'm just going to go over. And this in here is a guide for suggestions of things that you can take pictures of. So now that I have that, I should be able to walk out of the starting area here.
Dan, I
Right.
love that there's the little stars. So if you're ever not sure which way to do, Minecraft does, and I'm sure there's a better word for it, but like, look, they will give you clues as to which way to go. There's also signs to help you. So if you get lost, look for the signs around.
Yeah, it is a little bit easier to get lost in the forest here. I have walked right past a rift area before, so don't be afraid to follow your path back. All right, so here we go. We've got some heavy machinery here. It looks like it's cutting down and uprooting trees. And here's Emily again, so we can click on her. Deforestation is cutting down all of the forests and groups of trees. The land they were on is often converted to ranches. So we said that before. When trees are cut down or burned, they're allowed to rot. They release CO2, which is carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gases trap heat. It's one of the big problems we're experiencing right now. Have you ever been inside a greenhouse? The temperature is usually warmer than on the outside during the day. Light travels through the glass and warms the air and the plants inside. At night, the walls and the roof of the greenhouse stop some of this heat from being lost. Greenhouse gases do the same thing. Sunlight, a form of energy, passes through the atmosphere and heats the Earth's surface. Some of the heat is then released back to the atmosphere and out into space, but not all heat is lost, and that's what's getting trapped and making our world warmer. So this is what a rift looks like. And when I jump through it, it's going to show me a more optimized or ideal kind of future. And here we go. This is much nicer than what we were looking at.
Absolutely. That is gorgeous in there.
So greenhouse gases aren't bad. So it's changed the board here for us. Without greenhouse gases, scientists estimate the average temperature on the surface of the Earth would be minus 18 degrees Celsius. That is chilly. So way too cold for us to live on. The actual average temperature of the Earth today is around 15 degrees Celsius. And that's because of greenhouse gases. So there's a balance there. There's a good amount and too much or too little. So it's all about maintaining balance. So let's jump back through the rift. Does Emily have anything else to say? Trees are helpful because they absorb CO2 from the atmosphere and release oxygen. Right. All right. So how do we think cutting all these down would impact our environment? Okay, so let's go back through the rift. And here we are in reality. Okay.
So those watching, Dan has found his first rift, the yellow stars. He's gone through it to see a more ideal world, and then he's traveled back. So remember, there's 3 rifts in each area. And Dan, maybe at this point, we'll do a couple more shout outs. I know Kai is joining us. Kai really wants a shout out. So Kai, Asher, Youssef, we have Sebastian, Britton, Aaliyah, welcome. And maybe at this time, Dan, we're going to give everyone about 15 minutes to see as many rifts as you can. It's okay if you don't get through all 9, but we're going to give you 15 minutes right now. You're going to see Dan go through the rifts on the screen as well, but we want you to explore the rifts on your own at this time. Dan, any advice for them before we give them time to explore?
Yeah, it's just be careful exploring. It is easy to get lost and fall away from finding the areas that have the rifts. So if you do get lost, just try to make your way back to a path, and then you can backtrack back and forth as you need to.
And maybe I'll let our participants know that you can't go into the next world because there's 3 worlds, but you have to do all 3 rifts in the world in order to get to the next one. So if you're wondering why you can't get through, you need to go back and make sure you've jumped through each of the 3 rifts in each of the worlds. So students, right now, you have 15 minutes in this Climate Futures in Forest. See how many of the rifts we can get to, and we'll see you in 15 minutes.
I'll just quickly note here that this is one that I actually missed. So I wasn't able to go on to the next area because I'd walked right past here. So there's a fork in the path here with a village off. If you look behind you, there'll be another rift area.
This is just letting everyone know we have 2 minutes left to explore the climate futures. You can see that Dan is basically on his last rift, I believe. But this is your 2-minute warning to finish off exploring the climate change futures. As you are finishing off your explore time, I thought maybe, Dan, I'd give a few more shout outs, but we have Asher and Kaya. I'm going to give you another shout out. We have Cohen, Caden, Nathan, Jack, Tori, Matthew. Thank you for joining us and your responses. We hope that all of you have enjoyed exploring. Now, Dan and I have a question. This was the big focal point of exploring this is what is deforestation? So in that form, the cc.page/earth, let us know if you have an answer. And there's lots of ways of describing it. So let us know deforestation. Let us know in the form what it is. We do already have people, Amelia responding, Varun. So thank you. Deforestation is the cutting down of forests or groups of trees. The land they are on is often converted to farms, ranches, or used for urban development. Now, Dan, we have one more question, and I know the exploration of these different rifts went over it, but how do you think deforestation can impact climate change? And it can impact climate change in lots of different ways. Dan, before one of the very first rifts that Dan did was going over the greenhouse gases and that fine balance. We do need those trees to kind of balance out the CO2 levels in our earth. So deforestation, we already know can, affect the temperature of the earth. We're having great responses with what deforestation, like William with the cutting down of trees, Nathan, cutting down the trees and turning them into great different spaces. These are really great responses. Susie, a lot of students were also able to complete all or most of the rifts in that time, Dan.
That's awesome.
Isabella, I want to give a shout out to Mrs. and Madame or Miss, I hope, Isabella Vu's class. So welcome. Thank you for joining. And, Tian says it right. Less trees, less air. And, air quality is really important. Julie's talking about animal habitat. These are all really great responses to how they can impact climate change.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Definitely.
Wow. Dan, do you want to share like any important discoveries you made when going through the rifts?
So I think the thing that struck me right away is that with no carbon in the atmosphere, we'd been an average temperature of -18. So again, it's coming back to that maintaining that balance in nature of just the right amount. So yeah, by cutting down all these trees, we are destroying our world's natural carbon sinks to retain all the extra carbon that we don't need.
Yeah, no, those are all really great thoughts. I also love the Indigenous connection. I know where I live, they have been the caretakers of this land for hundreds of years. And there's lots of cultural, like I know our cedar trees are a big part of our local culture here. And just even the impact on our Indigenous communities by cutting down these really important forests. We also know that it can affect the biodiversity. So students, keep in mind some of these ideas because, like you said, there is going to be a build challenge coming up. So keep these in mind. Think about, and the build challenge, I'm going to give you a little hint so you can start thinking about it. your build challenge is going to be working on solutions for deforestation. Like, what is it that you can do to help? Um, oh, I'm loving. So I'm going to just give a couple more shout outs. We have Julie. And Julie makes a great point. We know with deforestation, there's going to be less materials in the future. That's a really powerful point. Thank you for Julie. We have Wyatt. Vincent, yeah, it will make our earth warmer, and we need to be careful that with our earth getting warmer, because some species won't be able to survive if it gets too warm. We have Atanis. Oh, Atanis is already jumping into the build challenge. Hold on, Atanis. You're going to want to see Dan build. We also have Caden. Yeah, Caden makes a great point. If climate change doesn't stop, there'll be no winter. We have Christina. Yeah, the air would not be fresh. Wow, that's such a great point. I think we're really lucky to where we live in Canada and other parts of the world, but air quality isn't as, the same for all people in all parts of the world. Wow, Declan, Alice, we have Wyatt. Oh, room three. There's a few of you in here, but welcome. We love that you're participating. Wow. I am loving these responses. Now, students, in just a few minutes, we are going to have a guest speaker join us from Lufa Farms, and they're going to maybe present a solution that might inspire you for your own build challenge. Oh, so cool. Dan, did you have a favorite rift? Like one that you're like, oh.
They were all pretty cool and amazing, and you probably noticed I accidentally walked by a couple of them and had to backtrack at the end to find the one I missed. But I think, yeah, I really like the Indigenous area one that showed unfortunately what's happening in a lot of areas of the world where we're particularly in the Amazon areas, like we're cutting down swaths of trees and forest, and we're destroying the homes of the indigenous people that live there. Some of them who have never encountered our Western civilization before, like they have been isolated in the middle of this forest for thousands of years with very little contact with the outside world, and then suddenly bulldozers show up. I mean, I can't imagine how absolutely terrifying that must be when your whole life has been one way, and then suddenly, a bunch of people just show up and say, "Oh, we're here to cut down your homes." I mean, that's just so terrible.
Absolutely. And I'll add a personal connection. So I live in British Columbia. Forests are very important. We have bears, we have streams, but we actually need those trees. And this was kind of connected to one of the rifts in there. But we need the trees to protect the soils and those areas around the streams. Now, I'm going to say hello. You'll notice we have someone on the screen. Hello, Rosa. I am going to segue and introduce you. But before I do, we have an incredible amount of students here. We have Sess. I also want to give a shout out. We have Atanis, and Atanis has joined us all the way from Greece today. That is incredible. So, Rosie, you are muted, but I am going to unmute you in just a minute, just because your greenhouse and what you have going on there is super exciting. But I want to introduce our guest speaker, and then I'm going to unmute her, and then she can share. Now, Rosa is from Lufa's Farm in Montreal. Now, Rosa, I have your slides. I'm going to unmute you here. And can you share us a little bit about Lufa Farms?
Yeah. So hi everybody. Thanks for joining us and learning a little bit more about I guess what we do at Lufa Farms. So to give you guys an idea, my name's Rosa and I work at Lufa Farms, which is we're rooftop greenhouses in Montreal. And what's special about what we do is that we grow food in the city right where people live. So we're on a mission to build a better food system. And we started, or Mo and Lauren, who are the founders of the company, they started with the simple idea of trying to get food to people in a more sustainable and local way. So they decided what better way to create these greenhouses that are on rooftops. So the company was founded in 2009, like I mentioned, by Lauren and Mohamed Haj. And we currently have 4 rooftop greenhouses in Montreal. So our ultimate goal, I'll take you around a little bit later because I'm here in the greenhouse, is to convert any unused space into an area where we can grow food right where people live in the city and really getting people closer to their food. So I'm going to jump into kind of the next slides. So I will talk about this greenhouse that you see on the screen right now. And this is the greenhouse that I'm in currently. So this is the greenhouse that was built in 2011. It's 32,000 square feet, and you can really tell that it is on a rooftop. And this is the greenhouse where we grow our peppers. So we can move into the next slide. And we also have some microgreens in the back. And then behind me, which you can't really see, we have our chives, but I'll show you all that later. So that's the first commercial rooftop farm built in the world. So this is the one that you guys will be seeing today. But we have others, so I'll let Emma go to the next slide. So we built another one in Laval because people started really liking what we did. They liked that we were able to grow food in the city. So we built another one in 2013, and we always get a little bit bigger with time. So you can see that this one is 43,000 square feet. And if you look at the back of the greenhouse, kind of away from the highway, you'll see that we're really close to where people live. You can see houses, you can see swimming pools. So imagine, this is where we grow cucumbers. So we can go. So all our Lebanese cucumbers. So imagine being able to have your food grown nearby and delivered to you close by as well. So I'll let Emma go to the next slide. So these are some English cucumbers. We also have Lebanese cucumbers that grow in this greenhouse. And now, moving to Anjou. So Anjou is located still on the island of Montreal. And this one was built in 2017. And this spans, there's a little bit of noise. It's a production space here. This spans about 63,000 square feet. So that is the size of one football field. So it's pretty big, but it's not our biggest one currently. So I'll let Emma go to the next slide. And it looks like this from the inside. So it's really a sea of green when you come in. And you'll notice that there is no kind of rows for people to kind of go in and pick the lettuce. It's because we actually have a system that automates everything. So we have the seedlings from one side of the greenhouse, and then week by week, they move, and they grow bigger and bigger, and we only harvest at one end. So that allows us really to maximize space, and that allows us to really, make the most out of the rooftops that we are on. So this is a unique way that we grow food in the Anjou greenhouse. And now, last but not least, is our 4th greenhouse. This one's built, the most recent one, in 2020, and this is the largest one to date. So this is the largest rooftop greenhouse in the world. Currently, there might be other projects on the way, but this one spans for about 3 football fields. So it's absolutely massive. And because we're in Canada and we're in Quebec, we like our hockey here. It's 9 hockey rinks. So to give you guys an idea, and if you take a look inside, it's going to have tomatoes. So let Emma switch to the next slide. Tomatoes. So these are some of our heirloom tomatoes, and we also have eggplants that grow in this greenhouse. So that's on the next slide. Wonderful. So that's what we grow at our Ville Saint-Laurent greenhouse. And this is all within Montreal. This is all within Quebec, Canada. So we occupy about 300,000 square feet of growing space. And that allows us to produce 56,000 kilograms of produce each week. So whether that from our 75 varieties whether that's cucumbers, leafy greens, eggplants, peppers, habaneros, jalapenos, which you'll see later. Oops. My rig lost a little bit of battery. So I'll try to keep us all, focused right now. So really our goal is to grow food where people live and to not use new land. So that allows us to reduce on transportation, and it also allows us to be closer to customers. And we always deliver directly to people via electric vehicles or by pickup points. So now I'm going to, I guess I'll go full screen now, and I'll show you what you guys are looking at today. And I had a kind of a stabilizer, but it lost battery. I'm sorry, so I'm just gonna put you in my hands and we'll walk around the greenhouse together. So it's
That's
just gonna
okay,
get
Rosa. And no, Rosa, we're gonna remind you, like Rosa is live in this greenhouse showing you all the incredible things that loofah can do. Rosa, after your little tour, the students are probably gonna have some questions for you, but this is absolutely brilliant. Please take us on a tour. This is so exciting.
Perfect. So I'm just gonna disconnect my phone here from this rig. Here we go. Everybody can see me?
Yes.
Perfect. So just because I'm walking around the greenhouse, I'm going to put on a mask, but I'm going to show you, so you won't see my face per se, you'll see really the greenhouse. So I'm going to do that right now. Oops. Front camera, back camera. Perfect.
Yeah,
All
looks
right.
great,
Perfect. So this is to give you guys what you are looking at. So here at Loofah Farms, it's really about being close to where people live to really reduce on that transportation. So you can see that we are right in the city. And by being right in the city, like I said, we can reduce on transport, and we don't have to use new land. So why is it important to not use new land? You guys probably are familiar, but not being able to not use new land really allows us to not contribute to deforestation, which creates, CO2 emissions, and allows us to use spaces that you kind of see everywhere over there that have not been, that are going unused. So by doing that, we can grow food in the city using less transport and not having, an impact on the environment by causing more deforestation to feed more mouths. So really our goal is to use the least amount of resources to feed the most amount of people as possible. And that's what we call responsible agriculture. So for us, it's not using new land, using less water, using less energy, and all that. So in terms of energy, you can see right now the greenhouse is about maybe 10 degrees outside, and I am wearing a sweater right now, which was a bad idea because it's about 21 degrees. So you can see everybody's kind of in t-shirts. In the summertime, people will be wearing shorts. And right now we don't have to heat the greenhouse, but in the wintertime, what happens is that we will need to heat the greenhouse. So I'll go on to the other side just to give you a really good look around. You guys can see me kind of in the reflection. And in the wintertime, what we'll do is we'll use the residual heat from the building below. So there's two sections in this greenhouse, and here's about 28 degrees. So it is warm. And then these are the peppers that I was telling you about before. So we use residual heat in the wintertime, and that allows us to use all the energy that's created by businesses below that are in the building. All that heat that they generate rises, right? So as the heat rises, we're able to kind of capture it because our greenhouse acts as an insulation to the roof. So if you kind of think about a boiling pot of water, and all that steam is kind of leaving that pot of water, and you put a lid on top of the roof or on top of the pot, that's the same thing that our greenhouse does. So by doing that, we're actually able to save half on about 50% on our energy consumption compared to a greenhouse that we located on the ground level. So that's how we save on energy. And that's how we have these wonderful peppers that you can see right here. They're a little bit on the green side. We just planted them in February. But yeah, so this is kind of what it looks like. So I'm gonna just take a little pause just to show you. So, and we should start harvesting next week. So there's a few right now that we can harvest, but full production will probably be in the next 2 weeks. So I'll walk down here, show you a little more.
Now, Rosa, do your peppers also kind of have the conveyor approach?
So we will use, everything is handpicked here. So what happens is that we have these rails on the ground, and those are for our carts. So we have our carts here, and these will be simply pushed through the greenhouse. And right now this is kind of green waste that's happening. So everything, all the green waste, which is leaves and just trimmings or things that fall off the plants, those will be composted. So we have a composter on site, we compost everything, and then we actually resell that compost to our clients that buy our products. So we pick everything by hand, so we don't have the same conveyor belt, approach to picking.
Wow, thank you. I'm sure I'm speaking for all the students and Dan. This footage is absolutely incredible, and how lucky we are to be inside these greenhouses, a part of LUFA in Montreal, Canada. This footage and seeing those peppers and everything, Rosa, you are blowing our minds.
It's absolutely amazing.
So yeah, so these are more peppers. These are looking a little bit riper, so I'm sure these will be in somebody's basket probably tomorrow or the day after. So what's really great about what we do is, because we're in the city, everything is picked to order. So that means that there's less waste. So we'll only pick the quantity that's been ordered and give that to, or sell that to our clients, which we call our lufavores. And everything that you see here that's being picked, so on the other side, there's a little bit of maintenance going on, but usually there'll be more picking. Everything that's picked here today will be in people's baskets by tomorrow. So that means we're able really to reduce that supply chain.
I don't think the food to table line could get any shorter than this. And that is the goal. Wow, Rosa. Now, Rosa, there's a few questions coming in, and I know we are going to have a question period, but do you have a favorite thing that you grow there in the greenhouse?
Oh, that's a good one. Let me put myself back with my mask. Hi, everybody. This is me with a mask on. My favorite thing is really our tomatoes, but I always have parsley in my fridge because I put that absolutely everywhere. And the parsley is just, oops, let me switch myself back around. Here we go. The parsley is just there. So that's So that's one of my favorite things. So either the cherry tomatoes or the parsley. It really depends.
So you can literally pick out what you need for your dinner. Is that correct, Rosa?
So the way that we work is we do everything online. So by being online, we're really able to determine the exact quantities that are needed. And that helps us kind of keep up with that demand, and also really helps us mitigate waste. But if you do work here, people do grab a little bit of parsley for their lunch and stuff. So
maybe Julie, that's a great segue, because one of the questions we have from one of the students is, how can you work for Lufa Farms? You are amazing them, and you've inspired them. And a number of our student viewers today are like, how do you become to work for Lufa Farms?
So I'll just speak about me. So I'll I just heard about it. A minute, here we go. I'm back again. So I just heard about Lufa Farms, and I thought, this is such a cool initiative in Montreal. I get to be in a greenhouse when it's minus 28 outside. So how do I get my foot in the door? So I started in sales. And what's really nice about Loofah is that you can start wherever in the company and always move up or always move into another department. And the role that I'm in right now is really, I created it. So we just noticed that a lot of people had a lot of questions. So how do we answer them? So that's become my full-time job. So I think, yeah, it's pretty, I guess it would be easy working here to and then to build kind of what you want with it from there. It's getting hot.
Sounds like a dream job, Rosa, and how cool and instrumental you were in creating it. Another really great question has come through from Vincent, and that is, how many crops do you grow? And I think that's a really good question. Like, how many different things are you growing?
So I'm going to go back, flip it back around here. Oops, there we go. So as you can see, there's parsley here, there's chives at that end. So I'm gonna, usually you don't come back here, but because we're online, it's easier to come back here. So we have chives, and then all the way at the back, we have our microgreens. It's all locked down. You guys can see a little bit more action too. Our microgreens. So here is actually the most diverse greenhouse, but the other greenhouses that you saw will really only specialize in one or two types of produce, and that really has to do with the climate that the vegetables need, but it also has to do with the nutrients that they need. So if you might have noticed, we grow hydroponically. So hydroponics are a way for us to save on water consumption. So the different systems, so I'll kind of walk through this really quickly, is there's water and nutrients that get pumped through here. They run along this channel. The nutrients get absorbed by the plants, the water gets absorbed by the plants, and then, so we don't grow in soil. So this is just substrate. So this is just a home for the roots so they can grow. And then everything that's not used falls back into this channel here, and it gets recirculated. So it's going to be different nutrients across the board for different greenhouses, different climates, but we really specialize in about 75 crops or 75 varieties. So that will really depend on where they are located and which greenhouse and what we grow. So this is really the most diverse one. And this one has two hydroponic systems. So we'll have this system, and then you saw the peppers, that's another system. So yeah, 75 about varieties in what we grow at Loofah Farms. I hope that answers your question, Vincent.
Yeah, Rosa, that was great. And not only that, the bonus footage we got with that was a hit. Maybe, Rosa, if you have time for maybe one or two more questions.
Definitely.
So has a really good question. And what is the item or the produce that takes the longest to grow? And maybe we'll add with that what would take the least amount of time to grow.
So that's a good question. So cucumbers grow extremely fast. So it takes about from the plant from kind of not producing any vegetables to, I'll just continue walking around. So that's fun. From the plant not producing any vegetables to kind of full production, that's about 4 weeks. So it's grown, it's a kind of a plant. So that's about 4 weeks. When you look at growing something from seed to a full grown plant, so what we do here, so we have propagation tables down at the back, that's about 8 weeks. But because we receive all the peppers, tomatoes, eggplants, and cucumbers, when they're small plants, it'll take less growing time, but we'll keep those plants for longer. So we can keep a pepper plant for up to a year, versus these guys will cycle out every, or we'll just pick them. We'll pick them every 8 weeks about. And in the summertime, because there's more light, it's warmer, these will grow faster. So it'll take about maybe 6 to 8 weeks versus in the winter time, it's about 8 to 10 weeks. So that's kind of in terms of time. So it's a little ambiguous across the board, but I would say it's always around like, across the board, around 6 to 8 weeks is kind of the sweet spot that we're looking at.
Wow, I love it. And maybe we'll just end with one more question is I think the students are just so curious, and I know you've mentioned that, but just confirm, like, you are truly harvesting every single day. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we really harvest every single day. And how we do that is that these will simply come out of the system. So you can see that I'm kind of lifting it. So I'm doing that, and we'll bring it all the way to our sink area that's over there, and we'll take out every single plant, just like this. So you can see that these are really, we take them out like this. So we send them to our customers, our lufivores, just like this, with the root system. And because they keep the root system, that means that they're still alive and they keep for longer. So hopefully at the end of the line, when you want to eat them, or your mom wants to eat them, or whoever wants to eat them, they're still alive, they're still good, they're still fresh, and then there's less waste that happens because you only pick, kind of what's needed. So this guy's having a little bit of, I think, calcium issues, but if we look over here, these guys are okay. So we harvest every day, 7 days a week, and we start, and everything that's picked today will be in somebody's home by tomorrow.
Oh, thank you so much, Rosa. And maybe we'll just close out. We have a viewer named Aria that says, Rosa is the best. I love tomatoes too. And Rosa, thank you so much for the footage. And thank you for taking the time to answer these questions. I know you've inspired a lot of students with what you do there at Lufa Farms, and we're so thankful to have you joining today. So thank you again for that firsthand tour. We are so fortunate to have you with us today.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm smiling under my mask right now. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And if you're ever in Montreal, or if you're a classroom in Montreal, we are open to the public. And we hopefully, if ever you guys want to have a more in-depth tour, just let us know, and I can, walk you guys around, no problem, answer more questions. And that's all the information that's on our website. So just on our Visit Us page. So go ahead and do that. So thank you so much to everybody for letting this happen.
Thank you, Rosa, and be careful what you wish for, because I'm sure many of us are going to jump to Montreal soon so we can see this so firsthand. So thank you, Rosa, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, students, it is time for the build challenge. And this is where Dan is going to blow your mind. So the prompt for the build challenge is, what is one invention that could help improve our climate's future? So thinking about what we learned at Lufa Farms and thinking about what we've learned through the 9 rifts in the Climate Futures Forest, what is one invention? And the best part about this, there isn't one solution. There is so many things that you could build that could be a possible solution. So after learning from the forest and Lufa Farms today, what ideas do you have? You can let us know in that farm today, or in the farm. I'm just thinking Lufa Farms. Like, I want to be with Rosa today. And I love it. Even the farm, Declan's like, just come to, like, I need a Lufa farm in my background. I wish it was closer to me. I'm pretty far away from Rosa, but hopefully one day we can meet. But maybe you have a solution that can plant more trees. Like, maybe you have like a drone that could plant some more trees for us to help control those greenhouse gases. Maybe you have some other solutions. So let us know. In the meantime, Dan's going to get loaded up, and Dan's going to maybe build us something. Now, Dan, should we not even tell them what your solution is? Should we just like keep them hanging a little bit?
Absolutely, because it's still percolating in my head. I think I have an approach here, and I'm waiting for some final bits of inspiration to trickle down. So I might look through the form one last time.
I love that. And maybe while Dan's just brewing up some ideas for his build challenge, remember, we are answering the question, what is one invention that could help improve our climate's future? So I just want to give another shout out. We have William and Alice in the form Christina, Olivia, Kimberly, Arla, and Aria. We have both. And we have just loved the participation in the form today. So if you have any ideas, or maybe you don't want to share them, and that's okay. But if you have some ideas that could help improve our climate's future, we're going to put them to action in Minecraft today. So I'm going to switch you over to Dan's screen, and he's going to inspire us with a possible solution and his expertise at building with Minecraft.
All right, so I've come back to where we started here again, and I'm just going to click on Emily here, and it prompted me to take a book to write some of my reflections in, but I'm just going to hop ahead to the next part. So if I'm done, it will teleport me to build a sustainable village. That's one of their suggestions. So let's go. And in 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're teleported. All right, so we have a nice big area here. All right. So we've got a nice big building area here. You'll note that once you move over to this area, you are in creative mode. So when you click on your inventory, you will have access to a lot of different things. All right, so let's get to building. What am I going to build here? Well, we've got some signs up. Let's see what it says here. Renewable water supply. Crops. Renewable energy source. So that's giving me some other ideas here.
So students, those that are watching, maybe you're already building, but Dan will be creating in the meantime. Dan, should we just give them some quiet work time currently, and we'll check back in with your design?
Absolutely.
So students, we are going to, maybe we'll give about 15 minutes for you to be working on your climate futures solution, and stay tuned for Dan's design. I imagine a lot of you are mesmerized by Dan building, like I am. This is your 5-minute warning to finish placing some blocks for right now. You don't have to be done. Teachers, this is also a great opportunity to pause this video if you need some more time. But this is a 5-minute warning, and then I'm going to maybe have Dan share out a little bit about his design, because I have been mesmerized. Like, I had high expectations for you, Dan, and you have blown them.
Well, thank you.
Blown it out. You've done even so much more than I thought you were going to do. So those watching, 5 more minutes, you'll see Dan and I shortly. All right, everyone, welcome back. Dan, do you need just like 1 more minute to finish off your incredible design? And I'd love for you to tell students, like, Dan, what have you created?
Okay, so I had a bunch of ideas going around in my head, and I thought I'd like to incorporate as many of them into one build as possible. So going with that idea of the hydroponic farms on rooftops thing, and also creating a sort of sustainable village, I thought, it would be really great if we could incorporate some of those ideas from Roof to Farms on a smaller scale. Like, why don't we build houses that are pre-built with its own greenhouse, so that you can go in and you can plant all your food and you can harvest your favorites all year long without having to go to the shops to do it, which, especially in our winter Canadian environment, could be a big bonus, because who wants to drive through a blizzard when you could just walk outside the house into the greenhouse and pick your tomatoes there. So I thought we'd do that. We'd have a little greenhouse that becomes just a regular part of our house. Like, it's as common as a bathroom or a bedroom. I think, changing that mindset, rather than it being a special thing that some people have but not everybody has. Everybody gets a greenhouse. And the house itself, I've tried to build to be more in tune with the environment. So we have a living roof. It gets its own electricity from solar panels. And also, in particular in large urban centers, we have all sorts of dark pavement and asphalt and things like that. And that absorbs more heat. So more light colored textures will reflect that heat back out into space rather than retaining it, because our cities on average are usually quite a lot hotter during the summer than outside in the country. So my thinking is to have lighter colored building materials. So rather than having all these dark shingled roofs, have light shingled roofs. It'll help reflect all that extra energy back out into space rather than capturing it here. So I've gone out of my way to use light colored bricks for the construction of the house. And again, that green roof is going to help, again, reduce and reflect some of that extra heat and light out rather than capturing it and retaining it. And building, or I should say, growing lots of trees around that environment as well. Because if you live in an older neighborhood, it'll be a little bit cooler than it will be in a new neighborhood where there isn't a lot of trees. So plant fast growing trees to help reduce that temperature again, rather than, and then we're not using our air conditioner quite so much. I mean, I remember I used to live in an older home that was built at the turn of the century, all mature trees around us. We didn't need an air conditioner. There was a nice cool breeze and the trees provided tons of shade on the actual house itself. Now we've lived in a newer build area and we had to run the air conditioner all the time, which is again using energy and potentially creating more burning of fossil fuels and so forth. So helps us avoid that. And then over here, very quickly, I decided I wanted to build just a sort of an automatic tree planting rover sort of machine.
Dan, that's nothing short of incredible how you were able to build all that in even like about 20 minutes. Absolutely incredible. And you were able to integrate lots of great new learnings from Loofah Farms, as well as our climate change forest. Even your addition of like, I'm going to do lighter colored materials to reflect rather than absorb the heat is absolute genius. So students, we hope that your build challenge is going great. You can certainly work on it after today and keep adding. Maybe Dan has inspired you with some new ideas. Dan would certainly be flattered if you want to take any ideas from his and incorporate. I mean, that's nothing short of flattery to Dan. So if he has inspired you, please carry on with that design. We have, or Dan, before we go back to is there any other things you want to share about your builds? Like, where would you maybe go next, or were you able to cover it all?
I was able to include most of the ideas that I had in the short period of time we had. I will note that even on the inside of the house, like I've used banners here for curtains, even they are a light color, because you're gonna pull them across potentially during the day if there's too much sunlight coming in and you want to see a screen or something like that. So they're lighter colors to again help reflect that light and heat out.
Oh, Dan, you have inspired me and you have inspired many others. And some of the students, again, joining us today, a few more shout outs. We have Defina and Amelia, Vincent, probably another shout out to you. Declan, I know Nathan's been busy with his build. We have Alice. So many incredible students that were able to join us for Loofah Farms, join us for the climate futures, as well as seeing Dan build. Now, before I leave our session today, we do have a couple questions for you. And this is kind of the thing moving forward. So now that we've explored climate futures, now that we've met with Rosa from Loofah Farms, now that we've seen Dan build a possible solution to help impact climate change, what can we further do as humans to help the deforestation problem? So in that form, the cc.page/earth, do you have some other solutions? And I know in here we have Zane, and Zane is building a drone that can plant 12 trees at a time. That's a great idea. Zane, we love that. And I think that's a great, impact that we can do if we can think of new creative ways to reforest or repair some areas. I also like Rosa. Rosa had a really great point in her session today about they're never creating new land. So they're not going to deforest an area for their farm. They're already going to choose an area where those trees have been removed. And I think that's a really great point as well, is that you're never using new land to create your garden. you're repurposing the land that you already have in those ways. So I love that point at home. Rosa also brought up a great point about keeping the resources really close to your house. So I love how she pointed out that there's houses and there's neighborhoods right behind their greenhouse. So the distance between the growing and the consuming, so to say, is really small. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So if you have an idea for what we as humans can do, let us know. And maybe it's just protecting certain areas. In BC, we have many old growth forests and forests that have a lot of cultural significance. And so we protect them from deforestation. You know, maybe we make it a provincial park, or maybe we corner. So there's many different solutions that we can do as humans to help the deforestation problem. And Serenity, Susie, great suggestions in here. You know, being really selective with the trees we cut down, maybe even being selective with the forests, maybe avoiding those forests that have more fragile biodiversity in there. Really great solutions. And our final question today, and Dan and I always love hearing this, is what was like one key takeaway that you learned from exploring the forest risks? Or maybe it was even a key takeaway from Rosa. But when you leave us today, what is maybe something that you'll remember? The cc.page/earth. And Charlotte, brilliant solution. Grow your own food. And that doesn't mean you have to grow everything that you consume, but can you imagine a world if all of us just grew maybe even one of the foods that we consume? That would make a huge impact, because if everyone did a small thing, they add up to really big things. I love that solution. Kimberly has a great solution as well. Maybe we can be a little more like Lufa Farms, and maybe if we have a patio or a back deck or a little bit of land that we have around our house where we can try growing things. Those are all really great solutions. Wow, Dan, anything you want to add? Do you have a key takeaway from today, or just something that from Lupa?
There are so many takeaways from today. Lupa was and Rosa were very inspiring. And I'm just thinking back to, I think one thing that strikes me that often gets forgotten about is biodiversity. And how by even removing just one animal from that chain can completely wreck a biosphere. I think I remember reading about how out in Yellowstone National Park, like all the wolves and predators had been removed. And as a result, all the prey just ate everything, and then all the trees disappeared, and then everything toppled after that. So they reintroduced wolves, and then slowly everything started coming back. Even the trees, the rivers got cleaner, everything just improved by restoring that balance of biodiversity.
Dan, that is such a great point. And maybe we'll just end it with a couple more shout out. We have Declan, who's learned about greenhouse gases, and Joe and Vincent and Kimberly. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Dan and I have had a blast with you with climate change futures. And at this point, it's time to reconnect with your teacher for your next steps. Thank you so much for joining us and learning with us today with Minecraft Climate Futures with Lufa Farms. We hope to see you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.